Get ready to learn something completely new about one of the most mysterious signs of the zodiac. What you knew about them before will soon become history. Not just a change of scenery is coming, but a complete restructuring of personality. This is not evolution, but a real revolution, sweeping away everything old and opening the way to a completely new worldview. May and June 2025 will be a period of powerful astrological events that will dramatically change this sign of the zodiac. Astrologers predict the emergence of Pisces 2.0. This is not just a metaphor, but a real astrological phenomenon, unprecedented in its power and scale. No other sign will undergo such a profound transformation. Pisces 2.0 are no longer those sensitive and compassionate natures, ready to sacrifice themselves for the sake of others. They do not drown in emotions, do not live in a world of illusions, and do not wallow in self-pity. They have a clear understanding of themselves, others, and the future. The start of this amazing transformation will be on May 12, the day of the full moon in Scorpio, also known as the flower moon. This will be the point of no return for those who are ready for change. The Sun in Taurus and the Moon in Scorpio form a tense axis between the 2nd and 8th astrological houses. Taurus, seeking material possessions, and Scorpio, longing for depth, come into conflict. It is at this point that the old Pisces will begin to crumble. Those who are accustomed to living by other people's feelings and saving others will find themselves unprepared for such an onslaught. Full moon will be a catalyst for profound internal changes, triggering an irreversible process of rebirth. In the depths of the soul there is no more room for tears or pity, only an acute awareness of the inexorable choice: either you grow and develop, or disappear into oblivion. Sentimentality is a thing of the past, as if it were switched off forever. Pisces no longer indulge in fruitless sobbing. They have the ability to observe, remain silent and understandably nod, but this is no longer a manifestation of weakness, but a sign of acquired control over the situation. The true 12th house, the abode of secrets and hidden truths, is revealed in full force. Representatives of this sign of the zodiac are able to read people, like an open book, feel the slightest falsity in the words and sizzle lies with a single look. While a person says, fish, already penetrate his true intentions and foresee the outcome of events. Kind and forgiving nature is zeroed, as if reset. In the past, they have shown infinite patience, understand everything in pity. This was especially true for women fish, perfect listeners, eternal saviors, whose hardiness reached self-sacrifice. They were ready to share the last piece of bread, the last coin, and forgive even those who betrayed them more than once. However, the influence of the flower moon mercilessly cuts off this program. There is a readjustment to the 6th house, the abode of personal boundaries and common sense. And here the old model of behavior, based on the principles of forgive, understand, tolerate, no longer works. It's fading into the past, as if it's dying out for lack of use. Even yesterday she wiped the tears of a friend who once again resumed relations with a toxic ex, and today she is already blocked in all social networks without any explanation. Just fish realized, if a person drowns of his own free will, it is his personal choice. Fish 2.0 will not save those who pull them to the bottom. The rebirth has begun, and if those around them do not understand the changes taking place, it is their problem. At the end of May, namely on the 22nd and 23rd, the celestial bodies line up in a unique configuration. The Moon meets Saturn, Neptune and Venus in the constellation of Pisces, marking a period of intense transformation for the representatives of this sign. This astronomical phenomenon can be compared to a cosmic pump-up, bringing the typical Pisces to a qualitatively new level of development. Such a powerful concentration of planets in the 1st house of the horoscope, responsible for personality, self-awareness and boundaries, has a profound effect. The Moon awakens the emotional sphere, Saturn brings discipline and structure, Neptune enhances intuition and empathy, and Venus influences aesthetic preferences, financial well-being, and interpersonal relationships. These days are a turning point, after which the Pisces psyche activates dormant resources, as if unfreezing hidden data in an archive. Awaken dormant talents, because Pisces has long been famous for its creative potential and versatility. Now, however, to their rich imagination and developed intuition is added rationality and restraint of Saturn. If earlier Pisces was content with just dreams, now they transform them into concrete actions, put into practice and, importantly, monetize their endeavors, acting calmly and calculatingly. Already in June, these changes bring the first fruits in the form of tangible financial rewards. Moreover, this is not random earnings, but a natural result of the built system. There is an activation of the second house of the horoscope, responsible for material well-being, self-esteem and the realization of their own value. Pisces begins to realize its importance, and this value is very great. Money flow gradually increases as Pisces learns to manage their finances more consciously. Pisces 2.0 is no longer prone to reckless altruism, saving poor friends, investing in questionable projects, or funding other people's problems. They acquire the ability to filter the reality around them, separating what contributes to their growth and development from what drags them down into the abyss. This is the key to their future success and prosperity. During the months of July and August, illusory connections and relationships held on the shaky ground of self-deception will come to an imminent crash. Neptune, the planetary ruler of Pisces, no longer clouds their perceptions or distorts their true feelings. On the contrary, the powerful influence of the 8th house, the astrological home of depth psychology and transformation, is activated during this period. Representatives of the sign of Pisces' second decade, like an experienced psychoanalysts, gain the ability to penetrate into the very essence of human nature. Already at the first contact they unmistakably determine the true motives of the interlocutor, a sincere desire for warmth and mutual understanding or self-serving calculation and the desire to extract personal gain. Manipulators and hypocrites, instantly recognized by Pisces, disappear from their lives without much noise and explanations, not wanting to waste precious energy on unpromising connections. On June 1st, Venus reaches the peak of its westerly elongation, marking a profound restructuring of Pisces' inner world. What was previously the soul of the company, open and sociable, turns into a closed system, set up to reject everything alien and false. Venus, staying in the sign of Gemini, activates the 3rd house of the horoscope, responsible for communications, connections and verbosity. It is in this sphere that Pisces undergoes dramatic changes. Endless soulful conversations in the kitchen, spontaneous revelations to casual acquaintances, the need to pour out your soul to the first person you meet, all this is a thing of the past. Pisces too no longer seek to get closer through frank conversations, preferring silent analysis and observation. A friend, years sharing their secrets and complaints about life, suddenly feels a cold detached look and realizes, access to the innermost thoughts of Pisces for her closed. The Pisces man, who previously trusted his friend with the most intimate secrets, suddenly realizes that their friendship is only a fiction, when he notices the buddy's undisguised interest in his chosen one. Pisces too do not arrange loud scenes and proceedings, they just stop answering the phone, cutting off communication with those who have not passed the test of sincerity and loyalty. The 5th astrological house comes into its own, leading the sphere of heartfelt affections, intimate desires, and individual life plans. Feelings rooted in the past days, henceforth do not entail turbulent emotional outbursts, painful memories or timid hopes for renewal. The representative of the stronger sex, born under the sign of Pisces, no longer indulges in night outpourings to the address of a former lover, does not indulge in reveries about the happy moments once experienced together. Lady, whose zodiac sign is also Pisces, does not feel the need to visit the page in the social network of the one who for many years skillfully manipulated her feelings. In their inner world there is a time of serene peace, like a quiet seashore. They do not actively seek new acquaintances, but deep down they are open to sincere and pure relationships, free from falsity and guile. They need someone who will treat them with care and respect, who will enter their life with serious intentions and stay in it for a long time, but only if honesty and simplicity. Pisces used to be too vulnerable and gullible, which is often used by unscrupulous people. 19th house of their horoscope, symbolizing sacrifice, self-denial and selfless love, often played a cruel joke on them. Too often they trusted those who did not deserve it, became victims of deception and even psychological abuse. Despite this, they realized that they were being used and at some point made a firm decision to put an end to it. Some of them still dream of eternal love, until the end of days, while others simply long for warmth and intimacy without intrigue and manipulation. But all of them are now firmly convinced, love is not suffering, not an attempt to re-educate and not a session of psychotherapy, but a state of peace and harmony. And if someone is not able to give it, he just passes by without causing Pisces the slightest desire to turn around. On June 8, the sky will witness a unique phenomenon, the conjunction of Jupiter and Mercury in the constellation of Gemini. This time will mark a turning point for Pisces, marking the formation of a new, qualitatively different entity, Pisces 2. It is known that Pisces tends to look at the world through the prism of rose-colored glasses, but now they awaken the gift of foresight, allowing them to see the future. Jupiter, the planet of wisdom and knowledge, combined with Mercury, responsible for the perception of information, gives Pisces 2 the ability to anticipate future events. Dreams become things, and premonitions, accurate and well-founded. Some explain it by intuition, some, a sixth sense, but astrologically it is a manifestation of pure Neptune, the patron saint of Pisces, combined with the elaborate ninth house, symbolizing worldview and higher meanings. Pisces is intuitively connected to these energies without even realizing it. They can't explain why this is so, they just know, and their premonitions come true. The influence of the crowd no longer has power over them. Pisces too don't blindly follow trends, they don't repeat other people's opinions. They stay out of the way because they can no longer be manipulated. They are either respected or bypassed. On June 21st, the day of the summer solstice, when the sun reaches its zenith, Pisces too will experience a cold reset, activating the axis between the 4th and 10th houses, personal base versus the outside world. In matters of survival, they become unemotional. Money ceases to be a source of tears and suffering. Why? Because the mode of flow through equanimity is activated, and the second house becomes the priority, money, self-esteem, values. Pisces too realize that pity is not profitable, helping everyone in a row does not save, but only exhausts, and boundless kindness leads to the abyss. They incorporate moderate cynicism and domestic selfishness. No aggression, just a firm no. And for the first time in a long time their financial situation begins to improve, and significantly, because the money stops flowing into other people's pockets. Uncontrolled hardiness can bring Pisces to the edge, so they need to learn to restrain it. Financial predictions for June, July and August for representatives of the sign of Pisces promises stability, but it should be noted that this forecast is not universal. It is relevant only for those who are ready to focus on their own interests and needs. Pisces too live by their own rules, where women are not inclined to support girlfriends in endless dramas, and men do not invest in risky startups of friends. Pragmatism and a focus on personal gain becomes the key to success, and this is what makes for remarkable progress. June 30th will mark the Moon's conjunction with Mars, culminating a process of rebirth and renewal for Pisces too. The Moon, which represents feelings, and Mars, which symbolizes actions, will finally come into harmony. Emotions and actions will no longer come into conflict. During this period, the axis between the 11th and 5th houses will be activated, signifying the interaction between society and personal life. There will be a thorough cleaning of the environment, which will be tough, but without unnecessary fuss. Negative elements will be weeded out. If earlier Pisces was willing to tolerate for the sake of preserving peace, habit or hope, now the situation will change. Communication with people who cause irritation, anxiety, or take away energy will be stopped. Pisces too will stop wasting time on explanations, preferring to simply exit the dialogue, leaving behind silence. The main selection criteria will be depth, honesty, and adequacy, everything else will be ruthlessly discarded. The collective may seem alien, and this is due to the inclusion of internal migration mode. Pisces too will come, do their work and leave without burdening themselves with unnecessary attachments. Their actions may not be understood by those around them, but this will not be a problem as Pisces too will stop seeking understanding from others. They will act on their own, eliciting respect, apprehension, and attempts to decipher their motives that will remain unsuccessful. Pisces too will become an autonomous system that no one can penetrate without their permission. Gossip and negativity in the collective will no longer be a threat to them. The activation process will be completed, and Pisces too will finally form. Everything that previously hindered their development will be discarded, and what is left will work stably and effectively. Do representatives of the constellation of Pisces do not feel fatigue from their usual role? From birth, they are blessed with a unique intuition, surpassing the capabilities of other signs of the zodiac, but why do they continue to listen to other people's lamentations, live someone else's emotions and put hopes for changes that never come? How many more Pisces will have to carry the burden of other people's misfortunes, to serve as a shoulder to cry on, to be saviors and donors, leaving in the end with empty hands? They are faced with a dilemma: either they become Pisces 2.0, or continue to remain in a situation where no one comes to help, financial resources are running out, and others only take advantage of their kindness. However, Pisces 2.0 is not a manifestation of cruelty, but rather the acquisition of a sober view of the world. Where they had been lenient before, they now put a stop to it, putting an end to a feudal relationship. Where they experienced suffering, they capitalize on it, using the experience to achieve their goals. Where they have nurtured hopes, they move into active action, not relying on chance. Where they have been deceived, they begin to play their own game, perhaps even resorting to deception, but doing so silently, intelligently, and solely in their own interests. The choice is up to the Pisces: either they enter a new life full of opportunities and achievements, or continue to spin in a vicious circle of old problems and disappointments. If the desired changes do not occur, it only means that they have not yet become Pisces 2.0, but there is always time for transformation.